Hey Flosstube, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. It is Friday, August 21st, and it has been a busy couple of weeks. This video is later than I had planned because lots of things have been happening. My projects I have been working on this week are not as much as usual because we went over to the coast to stay in my parents' timeshare, and it was fun. I packed Caledonian Sky because I thought it would be easy to work on it while we were over there. And I really thought I'd work on it if I had time to stitch. I had time to stitch, but I did not work on it because this thing is boring. I don't know why I'm stitching it. I kitted it up 20 years ago, and Mania 2 years ago, it seemed like a good time to start it because what else was I going to do with the anchor floss that I bought especially for this project? I've lost my love for it. Now seeing it, it looks better in the camera than it does when I'm stitching on it. So I think I'm going to plow through and finish it. A stitcher with more common sense would probably not devote the hours it would take to finish it. Let me know. Do you finish projects like this or do you let them go? It seems like I've got too many hours here to let it go. I don't know. My focus project right now is Plague Nurse, and it really doesn't look like I've done much since the last time I stitched on her, but that's because I've been filling in the white on her apron and mask and hat. I'm hoping to have her done for this month. We'll see. If I don't, it's okay. And while we were at the coast, shortly after we got back from the coast, I finished the socks. They're pink, they're self-striping, they're not exciting. They're socks. I turned the heel one night, and over the course of 2 nights, I got like the heel and most of the leg done. So whatever knitting black hole I was in where I didn't want to work on these, I escaped the pull of it and finished them, and they're going to go in my box of new socks that I haven't worn yet. And I had not been knitting for a while, but knowing that the socks were going to be done, and as much as I was avoiding those socks, I wanted something new on my needles. And this is the wool-like from Michaels that I used for the striped garter stitch shawl I was doing earlier this year. I really like the idea of, this is kind of a pinkish mauve something. I've got an off-white skein, and so I wanted to knit a basic triangular shawl and then do some kind of over-the-top lacy edging. And I didn't want to do more garter stitch. I am so sick of garter stitch after the jeté shawl. So I decided to do basket weave. Is that showing up there for you? And I am increasing in pattern, which is one of my huge knitting things I cannot do. So this is going to take a zillion years, but it's close to mindless knitting, especially now that we're getting back into more schoolwork than we've been doing over the summer. Helps me keep my mouth shut while the kids are figuring things out. And it's pretty, and I love basket weave. You can almost do it without paying a lot of attention, but it is just fiddly enough to be a challenge. A couple videos ago, you might have seen that I finished Canner's Kitchen. I am so happy with the way this came out. I am so glad Bendy, Stitchy, and Audrey helped me figure out what was wrong with my peaches. Because look, what is it? Beach Babies has been a leap of faith to trust the pattern as it is written. This is the one where trusting the pattern as it was written was a huge mistake and giving me green splotches in my peaches. Pattern for this one was in the October-November 1990 issue of Cross Stitch. What are you? Cross Stitch Quick and Easy. There was a tile blue and white background that I left out because I felt it was a bit dated, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's going to go into my under the bed box. I'm fine with that. I had fun stitching it. While we were over at the coast, basically the plan was my parents couldn't use their timeshare for the week and couldn't cancel it. Usually if they're not going to go, they cancel it in advance and bank the points and do some stuff that because of COVID they couldn't do. So it was paid for. It was, there was no one else who could go hang out at the coast for the week, so they gave me and my husband a call and asked if we wanted to go. And my husband already had vacation scheduled for the week, so yes, please. Plan was we brought groceries from home. We sat up in our room and watched the whales a lot, went out on the beach a couple of times to places where there weren't a lot of people, and it was really nice. We went near the end of the week. We drove up to Fort Stevens and saw the Peter Iredale, and I do not know how I have lived my life without going and walking and standing inside the 100-year-old shipwreck that has been there on the Oregon coast since 1906. It doesn't have a great story. It ran aground. Everybody, including the stowaways, got ashore safely, and they just decided it was too hard to salvage or something, so it has been sitting there decaying away for 100 years. I think it is the most awesome thing ever. My husband and my sons don't see what I see. I want to make a cross stitch of the waves through the beams of the ship, because I think that would be a thing. Hobby Lobby had their yarn sale. I made it to Hobby Lobby to their yarn sale. There's a video. It's the one before this one. And after making it to Hobby Lobby's yarn sale, I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to be buying more yarn. Except today I was looking at the estate sale listings to see if there were any barn sales to drag my husband out to, and there was an estate sale just a little bit up the hill from us, so my son and I walked up and they had yarn, and it was 25 cents a skein, and it was not your typical estate sale yarn. It was very, very nice yarn. I've been wanting to knit an afghan, and enough worsted weight white acrylic to make an afghan was going to cost me a chunk of money. Not a prohibitive chunk of money, but I now got enough yarn to knit probably 2 afghans for $1, so I am not complaining. And I will have an estate sale video probably in a couple of days after this one, because I found some neat things. I saved some stitches. I found the slides from somebody's 1971 Disneyland trip. I'm really happy, and if I hadn't had to walk home, I would have bought more. Now I might not buy any more yarn for a while, but it seems like these things come in sets, so I'm going to try not to buy any stash for a while, but if I go into the thrift store and somebody's donated all their dimensions kits and they're affordable, they're coming home with me. We know how that works. One of the things I have seen people talking about lately is buying nice scissors for fabric scissors. A piece of advice that I got when I first started quilting was, instead of worrying about finding someone to sharpen your nice fabric scissors, because they do, nice fabric scissors are nice, but they do need to be periodically sharpened. So what this experienced quilter did was she would go out and buy some scissors, something along the lines of these, and when they got dull, she'd replace them. And that was substantially less expensive, she said, than buying fancy, expensive fabric scissors. It's what I have been doing, and I live in a house with 4 kids and a husband, and I am not good at taking care of my own fabric scissors, so I'm not pointing any fingers at them. There were 3 in here. These are at Costco. They were, when I bought them 3 weeks ago, on sale for $8.50. I think that coupon is gone now, but they're really nice, and I think the last set of these I bought was 4 or 5 years ago. They have held up well. I use some for fabric, some for paper, hand a pair to the kids to cut whatever they are cutting. I think my husband used one of these to cut floor mats for his car and then sharpened them for me. He has a really nice sharpener, so I tend to hand him scissors, say, use these and sharpen them when you're done. This is what works for me. This is what I do. And with cross-stitching, I don't find myself cutting a lot of fabric for cross-stitching that I need special scissors. Even for my quilting, I do most of my cutting with my rotary cutter, so these fit my needs. Don't give me something to worry about. We don't know what happened to Grandma's sewing scissors. They evaporated into the ether. They're gone. Otherwise, I would have claimed those and gotten them sharpened and had fancy scissors. But they're gone, and I didn't, and I use these, and it works, and whatever works for you. I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents. Shout out or recommendation, whatever we want to call it. Joanna Campbell Slan has a series of cozy mysteries about Kiki Lowenstein, who owns a scrapbooking store and teaches scrapbooking and Zentangling. If you have not seen Zentangles, they are these fabulous meditative doodles. You know, for people who have not been working on the road they tore up at all today, I sure have a lot of trucks going by out there. And Joanna has, over the past couple of weeks on her blog, started giving lessons on how to do Zentangles. I want to do it. I've wanted to try them for years. I haven't even pulled out paper yet, but I'm going to do it. And I will put a link to her introductory post and her first lesson in the description down below. The first book in the series, I think we're up to book 13 or 14 now, and I've read them all and loved them all. The first book is Paper, Scissors, Death, and starting tomorrow, Saturday, until August 26th, it will be available for free. I believe that is on Amazon, but I can't confirm that until tomorrow, so I will put a link in the description below to the book's Amazon page. Check the price before you click download to make sure that it is free. If I find out it's through BookFunnel or something else, I will put a link to that instead. Highly, highly recommend the series. They are a lot. They're light and fluffy and a lot of fun. She has another series. Caramia Delgado is the character, and I think the first book in that series is Tear Down and Die. They're set on the Florida coast, and Caramia does upcycling, and those are also really good. And I think Tear Down and Die was free. I'm not sure if it is anymore. I'll put links. And what else am I doing? I have a list, and I'm not organized right now. Oh, that's it. Audrey left a comment about time, and probably didn't expect the response she got from me. She got me thinking a lot about time and where you find it and how you get it, and I don't admit that I don't have any. When I first started cross-stitching, I had a 5-year-old and a newborn, and I stitched during nap time. When I first started quilting, it was just about the time we moved down here, and by that time I had an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, a toddler, and a newborn. And honestly, when my youngest 2 were preschoolers, that is probably when I got the most done, because if there was time and they were occupied with other things, I was knitting or quilting or doing whatever. And the last couple of years, I have found more ways to waste time, and especially 2020 has been my year for not using my time effectively. I'm trying to fix that. And one last thing, if you want to skip it, you can skip it without missing anything good. This pandemic schooling that everyone is doing, I have been hearing some really, really bad advice. The homeschooling groups I belong to, a lot of parents who are everybody is trying to do their best for their kids. I understand that. A lot of people who are new to the idea of homeschooling have jumped into it, and some of the advice that is flying around out there, it's dangerous, guys. If you have a high school aged son or daughter and you have decided to homeschool to avoid whatever the public schools are doing right now, the credits that you give your own child for homeschooling, you cannot put them back in school and have that count towards their diploma. So if Connections Academy, I know, is one, I think K through 12 is one, those are run through the public schools and will give your children school credit towards a diploma from your local public school. Please verify that. Don't take my word for it, but that is my understanding. If you totally homeschool and find your own curriculum that you like and do Algebra 1 and chemistry and whatever this year, you cannot expect your school to give your student credit for that time that they spent. I know Oregon doesn't do it. From what I am hearing, other states also do not do it. Maybe they will change the rules and make accommodations because of the situation that we are in now, but if your child has been working towards the plan of a diploma through the public high school, please don't mess it up for them because you don't understand the homeschooling laws. My homeschooled kids are getting what is called, I believe it is called a modified diploma. I could have the term wrong. I didn't go look it up. Basically, it's your graduation diploma issued by mom and dad, and it has worked for everything they need to do. Everybody else I know has, for the most part, it works. But homeschooling high school is kind of an all or nothing thing. You can't plunk them back into the school system halfway through and expect the school to take your credits the same as if you transferred from another public high school in another town or state. So please, if you are homeschooling a high school age student, do your research and know what you are doing, and don't listen to, the advice is coming from people who have never homeschooled and don't know anything about homeschooling. And like I said, some of it is very, very wrong. Now, younger kids, that you can homeschool them and put them back in the public school. I know lots of people who have done it, and it's been fine. This just applies to high school, as far as I know. And the other thing I've been seeing is we were watching the news one morning, and they were talking about how you need to buy 2 sets of school supplies, one for school and one for home, and specially sized tables and chairs. And I've been homeschooling for 20 years. We had the little kid-sized tables and chairs. We have had quite a few different desks, and nobody ever uses them. They sit at the kitchen table, they sit at the couch, they sit on their beds. So if this stuff is a financial hardship and you do not want this furniture for other purposes, if you want it, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but you don't necessarily need it in order for your child to learn. There is no way I would buy 2 sets of school supplies. I would go through the house and see what we have that my kids already need. And, I haven't bought pens, pencils, markers, that sort of stuff. I haven't bought it for years because I overbought so much in previous years. Look and see what you have, and you probably don't need 2 school supplies. I'm not telling you to send your kid to in-person school and without supplies and make things harder on the teacher. But as far as doing school at home, you might already have what you need, so take a look. Thank you for watching, especially if you got through my last little rant here on homeschooling. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I'm gonna go film the stuff that I picked up at that estate sale this afternoon because I think some of it's worth looking at and sharing. So that'll be up a couple of days from now, and I'm still working on the ideas for Flossoween. So I'll be back with you again very, very soon.